But his uncle said at the very end,
Yep.
if you want the girl, you got to kill the guy. And so there, that kind of played in his mind until that moment, until he was smart enough to say, oh shit, this is going to be a mess for everybody, and it's going to kill me as well. So he decided not to and leave.
L'unico mezzo siamo è uccidere il marito.
E sto saggio.
E allora, un po' strunzo. Avvocato Zeni, pronto? Come sta?
Sono nato proprio vicino al Museo Nazionale di Napoli.
Sì, è stato lì a aprile.
In aprile?
Yeah.
Una strada che si chiama Salita Miradois.
You know, I was next to Excelsior. I was right next door.
We stayed there.
Yeah.
Stayed at
Oh, you stayed at
Yeah. We stayed at this when we were shooting on, my scene where they actually meet my character.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, we're gonna jump right in. All right. So, welcome to the New Theory Podcast. We're here at PaisanCon. We're here with a very special guest, and again, he was on the bingo board of my dream guest, Frederico Castelluccio. Grande onore.
Grazie.
Thank you for being here.
Piacere.
Piacere mio. So we're going to start right off the bat, and I have some questions for you. So the first is, you obviously achieved a significant role with Furio Giunta. With that said, though, how did landing the role impact your career, and what are some of the memorable moments that you had in that role?
Well, it impacted my career because it sort of catapulted me into, into people's minds. Especially in the business, you have casting directors. You have all kinds of directors and producers. So all of a sudden, you're in the forefront of their mind.
Yeah.
As you're in the forefront of everyone's mind because the show is so popular. I had been working for about 10 years in the business.
Oh wow!
And that you would call that a big break. Like The Sopranos was, everybody wanted to be on that show after the first season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of actors that auditioned for my role as well that were very, very famous actors. For this, I found this out afterwards, and Tony Shalhoub was one of them, actually.
Oh, wow.
Tony Shalhoub auditioned for Furio, believe it or not. But it impacted my career because, like I said, everyone knows your work now.
Correct.
So I walked into casting or something like that, and people already knew your work, complimenting you on your work. But there was a caveat. Caveat was that everyone thought I spoke with an Italian accent. And so I had to kind of reintroduce myself in Hollywood. So, like I remember this one casting director was like, "Oh my God, you don't speak with an Italian accent? I could have used you in this film last week." They're like, they saw my picture. They're like, "This guy would have been good, but he's got an Italian accent." But after a while, I had to kind of sort of control the direction of my career. And I stopped taking roles that had Italian accents, in order to, So, and what was the second part of the question you said?
No. So what was some of the memorable experiences you had in the role?
Oh my God, there's so many memorable experiences. One of the most memorable was going back to the town and the city where I grew up and where I was born, in Naples, and to work as an actor there. Going back, and I remember there was, we went there where they introduced my character. And we were staying at the Excelsior.
Yeah, I stayed next door.
Right. And so I had cousins from all over Italy that showed up, and they were all waiting outside, right? And then I remember David Chase coming down and saying we were supposed to go to dinner. He's like, who are all these people here? They go, it's Federico's cousins. All right, no problem.
That's amazing.
Yep. No, it was great. What a wonderful experience, though, to go back to Naples, Italy, to shoot The Sopranos, and that became world renowned.
So it's Sopranos. It's funny because I was just in Italy, and I was in Rome, and I was at a really nicer restaurant in Rome, and the first thing they brought up was The Sopranos. Nothing else, not Godfather.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
this is in Rome because in Italy, Sopranos, I don't think it was that big. I don't think, right?
No, when it first came out, I think Berlusconi was a little apprehensive of putting it on at a good hour. You know what I mean?
Meanwhile, because Anyway.
Well, anyway, no, but here the thing is, Berlusconi, he owned Mediaset, right?
Is that what we're doing today?
Right, and so what happened was all of the critics that like harsh critics were like on board with it. They loved it. They said this is chiave ironica.
Yeah.
They loved The Sopranos, so they started putting it in a better hour because they would put it like on a weekend, on a Saturday night when nobody's watching it, and then they put it on a better day, a better hour, and it started becoming more popular there.
So I'm going to ask you kind of like an off-the-script question. I want to get your opinion. So the difference of mafia movies in the U.S. and Italy. In the U.S., it's always been the best-dressed guy, the good-looking guy, the powerful guy. In Italy, prior to The Traitor, they didn't paint them that nice. It was ugly guys, brutta figura, you know.
Yeah.
But to The Traitor on, and even Gomorrah, kind of sensationalized. In your opinion, what's the difference in Italian, how they approach mafia in cinema, and versus the Americans? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what's interesting is that the films kind of influence the real mob guys and vice versa.
Correct.
And the real mob guys sort of kind of influence the films and how they dress and how they look. But in Italy, they take it very, very seriously there.
Correct.
I mean, obviously, the mafia started in lower parts of Italy, and they were incredibly strong. They were incredibly ruthless.
Yep.
And they had to be true to the character that they were. That that they were ruthless people and ugly people. So that's how they portrayed them in Italy. Over here, it was more sort of idealized. You know what I mean? Romanticized, idealized. But people are still interested in that life because it was just like, it's like they're doing like. We would love to kill that guy, but we actually can't do it because we're good people. They over there, they did something wrong, they go over there and they kill you. But there's good, let me tell you, there's good and bad in every culture. So.
True. Did you see Gomorrah?
I did. I actually saw the film, but I haven't seen the series yet.
What?
No, I haven't seen the series, but I actually worked with Cristiana Delana.
Get out of here.
She was, she was the star in Cabrini.
Yeah.
I played the senator in Italy in the 19th century, late 19th century.
Wow.
I was the head of the Senate, and she went from playing in Gomorrah to a saint. You know what I mean?
I would have been.
Only switch. Only with the Italians. All right. So we know, like, listen. Obviously, we know your career and you're accomplished, but also beyond acting, you're also accomplished painter with a strong foundation in classical techniques. How do you balance your passion for both acting and painting, and do you find these two artistic disciplines inform your influence on each other?
It's interesting. The balancing thing is, our field, especially in acting, and you're always kind of waiting for your next job. So there is a way to balance, the arts, and they're all related. All the arts are related. It's whether you're a singer, dancer, actor, painter, it's all correlated.
Yeah.
So how I balance it is I paint a lot at night.
Correct.
So I sleep very little. Maybe I used to get like 3.5 to 4 hours. Now I have to get 6 hours in order to function.
Yeah.
5.5, 6 hours. That's how much I sleep. But yeah, I work a lot. I'm constantly doing different, like I have to keep busy. It's one of the things that I do. If I'm not acting, directing, writing, I'm drawing or painting every day.
So did you, as an accomplished actor and an artist, when you got more respectfully celebrity from acting, did that make it harder or easier for you as an artist? Because kind of like notice Furio.
Oh, as a painter, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good question. Actually, no one's ever asked me that. You become famous for one thing. You become famous for an actor, and then then they find out that you're a painter.
Yeah.
And there's this guy paints as well. It's the other way around. I act as well.
Yeah.
I believe I came into this life as a painter. I've been a visual artist since I was born practically. And I sort of decided that was going to be my path.
Yeah.
And then when I was in college, a friend of mine who was also a really good artist, his name was called. His last name was Calder, and he was like so Italian from Brooklyn, you know. And I go, what? So Italian? What the hell's Calder? He goes, my grandfather changed it from Calderone.
Wow.
But he asked me. He said he was in a theater class, right, in college, and he came over to me one day. He goes, would you like to come and watch me do a monologue? I said, oh wow, yeah, sure. You know, be my guest. Come.
Yeah.
So I go to it. I'm auditing this class and seeing him go up there as a Brooklyn, like the complete Brooklyn accent. Anthony, he's Anthony Calder, and all of a sudden he's doing Biff from from The Death of a Salesman. I'm like, what the? This guy just turned into a Midwestern accent, like right in front of my eyes. I've known this guy for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was the moment I said, really, I need to explore this art more. And I always had it in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I went to that class that day, you know.
Interesting. So one of the scenes in The Sopranos, kind of go back to that for a second, and like Billy to jump in too, but one of the scenes that stand out is when you were in the cemetery to go back for a funeral. And you're talking with your uncle.
Yes.
And basically you were in love with the boss's wife, which in Italy you don't do, right? And obviously in America it
You
kind
don't do that either
happened.
here.
Well, great point. Great point. So at that moment, as an actor, did you identify more with Furio the Don or Furio the American mobster? You get what I'm saying? Like, where did you identify when you were saying, like, obviously reading the role? Who did you identify more? More as the original Don guy, or more as the American mafioso? But I don't care about them.
Well, no, see, the thing about Furio is that he was a loyal soldier.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Tony brought him over, because he saw that there was a guapo, an old boss that had one foot in the grave, and he jumped on his body in order to save him because he thought there was an attempt at his life.
Yeah.
The guy was almost dead, and he jumps on his... And Tony sees this, he's like, you know, there's a bunch of turncoats on me in Jersey. I need a guy like that.
Yep.
And so that was the impetus for him to ask Annalisa to you know, with the car deal, to bring me over as well. So, you know, when I was doing that scene, obviously, you know, I'm thinking as a Neapolitan camorrista.
Yeah.
He's a Neapolitan mob guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's that loyalty that you have, but when it comes to feelings of the heart, you know, it's hard to separate that, and that's why he had to talk to his uncle.
Yeah.
But his uncle said at the very end, if you want the girl, you got to kill the guy. And so there, you know, that kind of played in his mind until that moment, until he was smart enough to say, oh shit, this is going to be a mess for everybody, and it's going to kill me as well. So he decided not to and leave.
Now, as we know you as an artist, right, separate from that, and a nice guy.
By the way, can I just
Please.
just add to that?
Please.
You know the guy who played my uncle?
Yeah.
Okay. From time to time, George.
Big actor.
No. Here, let me tell you. He was an author and a poet, a Neapolitan poet.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And he was in Patterson, and Georgianne Walken would call me from time to time because, you know, they went through so many actors, and they go, Federico, do you have anybody to play Uncle Zio and the uncle from you know? And I said, yeah, you know what? There's some guys that I know that are really, I mean, like they would be perfect. He goes, would you mind bringing them in? So they auditioned for her and for David Chase. So Nino Del Duca, God rest his soul, that was the actor. I mean, I'll tell you what happened. I read with him. The guy was brilliant. So I bring him in. He reads for the casting director and David Chase. He does it, and David goes, I would love for you to do this part. He goes, but I am not an actor. He goes, no, you are an actor. He goes, you were fantastic. And he was the one who wound up doing the role.
Wow.
So I was happy that I was able to bring in certain people to be cast for certain roles in there as well.
That's amazing. So we got Billy Pompeo here, who kind of heads up the Paisan Con. You developed a strong relationship with Federico. Thank you again for coming. From your perspective, what does Federico being here, not just from the actor's perspective, but exemplifying the Italian-American experience? And give us a little bit about, like, obviously, we want him here, we need him here, he's our guy, but give us kind of like the feeling and emotion that he supports you and the relationship you guys developed.
It's invaluable. I'm like, if anything came out of PaisanCon, our relationship is we have a great relationship. I mean, it's hysterical. We have a lot of laughs together. And because of PaisanCon, we've taken trips together. It's the bond is amazing. You know, I've seen his work. It's amazing. It's actually surreal. Actually, I've gone to his house. I walked in and I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, the talent is unbelievable. And he's actually taught me a little bit about art, and my appreciation for art has grown tremendously since then. So that's on a personal level. Italian culture-wise, I mean, he is the quintessential Italian American. He came here from Italy, grew up in America. Like he got his bones in America.
Yeah.
You know, his formative years here, and you know, he's a real Italian American. You know, he's great. As far as PaisanCon is concerned, I think PaisanCon really got its feet when he signed on. You know, it became legitimate when he signed on, and then you know, like everybody's like, wow. Federico was a great guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just join anything.
Correct.
And it gave us a lot of clout and just everything he did about it. It wasn't like he's like I just signed on. His feet hit the ground with us. He did interviews with us. He strategized with us. He brought people in. He stood up for us, even when you know maybe somebody else wouldn't. You know.
Well, I believed in the mission, and that was the most important thing for me to come on as you know, as sort of a champion for these guys, and they're really nice. I mean, you know, Nick Petito, I think he's a brilliant actor and comedian. His impressions are fantastic. I think that this guy should be on Saturday Night Live or something, you know, where more people see his work. And then introduced me to Billy Pompeo, and you know, he's a sweetheart of a guy. And you know, I saw their character. I saw that they were pure guys, and I decided I was going to help them out and make this thing, make their dream come true, hopefully.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Any, being in New Jersey, I went to a lot of tours, any interesting or fun, unknown or little known James Gandolfini stories? Or what are your favorites?
Yeah, Jim, let me tell you. There was this one time that we were doing an appearance in, I think it was Foxwoods, you know, Foxwoods Casino. We'd have these high rollers that would pay us ridiculous amounts of money in order to meet with them and take pictures, you know, just like do you know what I mean, a meet and greet. Yeah. So there was a lot of us there. Lorraine Bracco, all of the main characters were there. I think even Edie was there, and she never does these things.
Yeah.
So they had a green room set up for us. Every actor that kind of finished. Every actor that finished taking pictures with certain people, they would come into the green room and they had food there. And Tony Sirico always had this one guy with him all the time. He would drive him all over the place. This guy had this really good head of blonde hair, you know, he was a big guy. He was like, they said he was a comedian. So anyway, he was always dressed properly, you know what I mean? His suit and everything. So I walk into the green room after I did my pictures and everything, and I see everybody looking at the table where the food is. And Lorraine Bracco is like smoking a cigarette. She's kind of like in a trance. And I see another guy, they're all looking at the table. Here's this guy that was always properly dressed, always like, he was there, sitting there like this. There was a bowl of spaghetti in the middle of the table. He had a fork and he was like this, drunk off his ass. He's twirling it. The fucking spaghetti's coming all over the table, and he's like eating it like this. It was like, I was like, look, we're all like, it was a performance. We're like, what the fuck is going on here? So all of a sudden, James Gandolfini walks in. He goes, what the fuck is going on here? I said, Jim, this guy is going to throw up all over the place. I said, we got to get him out of here. He goes, come on, grab his arm. I grabbed one arm, grabbed the other. I go, what floor are you on? The guy goes, he gives us the floor. We had a security guard so we're both carrying him to his door. We're trying to key. I said, you sure this is like, yeah. He goes, this is the number. We're trying to key, nothing's working. I go, this ain't working. All of a sudden the door opens. He goes, hey, what the fuck? Tony? Furio? And he sees he sees like spaghetti all over this guy, man. It looked like, literally, it looked like we beat the shit out of this guy. We're like, I'm serious. And so the guy, and you know who's obviously the security guard was there. Jim is gone, but that guy in that room is going to be the only other witness. This poor guy passed away too. But apparently he went off the wagon. I never knew that. I never knew the guy was an alcoholic and then went off the wagon that night.
Wow. So listen, final question. Listen, accomplished career, great guy, a gentleman, a scholar. I really appreciate everything about you. For those watching, kind of like us, people know who you are. What's something that you would like to be known about you that is not as commonly known? Because obviously, again, like the typecast of some faces, some people know you as an artist. But what's something that somebody could watch and say, you know what, I wish I knew this, these, my audience or our audience knew this about me. What is that?
I'm someone who really cares about the work. I mean, if there's anything that is offered to me that I feel, even if a lot of money is thrown at me, and if I feel that it's not for me, I'm not going to do it. It's just that simple. I have to really love the piece. I have to, there's a lot of scripts and things that come to me, and I'm just, I just can't do it because I'm not feeling it. It's, there's integrity that comes with me, whatever it is, it has to have integrity. And that's probably one of the reasons why I'm here, because I feel that these two gentlemen here, have integrity.
Can I ask a question? Please. So we've been playing poker for the last 2 days. Are we going to do the same? Because I actually have a good hand.
How about this? Let's go all in. I'm in. I'm all in. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.